Hey guys, what's going on? Kunal here, Bulls on Wall Street. Want to take some time today to talk to you about a question that I get nonstop, especially on like Instagram and Twitter, which is what are some trading tools that we can use to get started when we're new, right? And so that's always something that pops up in my DM. You know, how do I get started? What are the tools that I need? And of course, once I tell them, the first question that everybody gives is that free? So I want to talk to you today about some trading tools that are free that you can use right now when you're getting started to get your feet wet, put your toes in the water, and learn a little bit about day trading and the different tools that you need. And then once you get started, of course, upgrade to the new stuff. Now, let me give you just a little bit of a caveat. Free trading tools are not going to be as good as the ones that you pay for. It's not necessarily that they lack the features, but oftentimes when you're dealing with the free tools, you've got to do all sorts of like little workarounds. They'll hold back certain features. You might get a bunch of ads. A lot of times when you pay for the tool, what it really does is it just saves you time. For example, if you use an online trade journal like TraderSync or TraderVue or Edgewonk, right, and you pay for it, what it does is it just saves you time. Sure, you could do all this stuff on Excel or Google Documents, right? But that's going to take you time. You got to make the spreadsheet, you got to put the formulas in, you got to manually upload the graphics, but it's free. But you may have to spend a couple extra hours a week to save the 30 bucks. And so that's where I'm always at with the trading is you have to think about what's your time really worth? And then, hey, the amount of money I'm saving, is it really matching what my time is worth? So if you spend 10 hours on Excel, when you could just upload it to TraderVue and spend $20 a month, then you've got yourself a scenario. Well, look, in the end, we're all new. We all started here. When I was new, like I'm Indian, right? I am cheap. When I was new, I was using every single free tool possible. You're talking barcharts.com, stockcharts.com, then FinViz came out. Then people started really blowing up on ThinkerCrap. That was brand new. The Tasty Trading guys are selling it to Ameritrade. There was Quote Tracker. Like I was using it all. Yahoo Finance. Like I was using it all. And the thing is, when you do that, it can work, especially if you come up with a system. But what you're doing is you're kind of taking like all these small little pieces and you're trying to throw them together into some kind of coherent system, right? And so it's like you've got like 10 different websites and like 8 different tools that you're using to get like a little bit here, a little bit there, a little bit there, a little bit there, a little bit there. And in the end, like if you piece it together, then you've got kind of something that you can use. And I did that for quite some time. But now, like the cool thing is that, the tools are so cheap. You can use something like TC 2000 and it gets rid of like 10 different websites and 5 different tools. And it just combines it all. And you end up spending like 40, 50 bucks. And in the end, I think that's the best way to do it. But look, you don't know if you're ready for that commitment, right? When you're getting started in trading, we're always thinking like, how do I make money? How do I make money? How do I make money? But what you really need to do is figure out, am I willing to do the nitty gritty work, that day in and day out work, that grind to actually make it? And so sitting there and testing some of these free trading tools and going through it and putting together a routine will also just give you an acute understanding of whether you actually enjoy the process of trading. Because to be really good at trading, you've got to love the small details of it, the late nights of looking and hunting for stocks, the tedious journaling so that you can find little edges in your trading. All of those things is what kind of builds your expertise and your competence so that you can get good at this, because this is no different than any job, whether you're a doctor or a lawyer or an accountant. You have to treat this just like that. What are the processes you would go through to become a really good lawyer, right? Well, why would trading be any different? So enough of me rambling on. Let's get into these free trading tools. I'm going to first start with the granddaddy that I think is something that is a little bit of a one-stop shop. You can use it for news. You can use it for charting. There's a community aspect of things where you see other people posting ideas and you have a chance to leave comments and interact. And I think that this is a really helpful tool. I use it for my cryptocurrency trading, and you can actually use it for stock trading also, and that is TradingView. TradingView is kind of like the new hot thing that just started, 4 or 5 years ago in terms of just picking up steam, and it has blown up into like a huge company with tons of users, and they have some great free trading tools. Let's take a look at it. So if you look at TradingView over here, when you go to the website, you got all this kind of cool stuff to it. But one of the things that you'll see on this bad boy is like you got products, community, markets, news, brokers, so on and so forth. So you can see here, like if you click some of the things on the chart button, like you have like some really, good looking charts, and you can add in all your indicators, candles. And so there's a decent amount of stuff that you can do here in terms of just making sure that you have the main trading tool that all short-term traders need, which is charts, because technical analysis is the key to short-term trading. Fundamentals matter long-term, but on a short-term basis, technicals is the big king. So you got all this kind of cool stuff here. You got some screeners, and so you can make in, performance screeners and dividends, and you can see here, you can really make a screen for everything. It's not intuitive like, if you ever see on some other videos, like I'm always using TC2000, like when we do the pre-market shows, and you can kind of see how I have everything built into one layout, your news, your charts, your scans. On some of these things, you have to click some buttons, but whatever, like you've got all the things that you really need. If you look here, you've got economic calendars, which is important, like, staying up to date here, right? Like, what do we got over here? When is the Fed announcing their interest rates? When is this happening? When are the oil numbers, so on and so forth. This is not a huge part of trading, but I think it is important. There's going to be times where there's just big reports coming out, right? Like GDP, inflation, and you need to kind of learn these things and have a good calendar. You can see here, you got communities. You can see kind of what people are posting. Now, one thing with community aspect of things is in any community, what you should always know is that most people stink, right? They're just posting to post. Sometimes people are bored, but there's always going to be some cool people too. And, so take it as it is. It's just a way to generate ideas, to learn. Maybe you can pick up something, but you never want to blindly just follow people. Like, we don't know who these people are, right? Like, look at this guy. He seems like a good dude. He's got a nice beard, great set of hair, but we don't really know what this guy's all about, right? So you got to be real careful. Like, look at this guy. Now, that guy looks like he's trustworthy, but he almost looks like he's too trustworthy, right? He's got the aqua shirt on, like he's got a nice old school tie, right? Like he's not showing his teeth, like probably like somebody was making fun of him when he was a kid about his teeth. And so now he's been going through his whole life like, man, I'm going to be a trader. I'm going to make all this damn money and nobody's ever going to make fun of my buck teeth again, whatever. But that seems like a good guy. But like, what do we really know about him, right? And so you got to kind of take this with a little bit grain of salt, but it is awesome, the community they built. and the ways you can search for ideas. And you can see trade ideas here, educational ideas. They got scripts, and then you can even click stuff like market from different countries. And I use this a lot for cryptos. You can bring up like crypto charts and stuff like that, and they even have like news, and you connect your brokers, and kind of all this kind of jazz on it. And then their paid version of TradingView, which is like what I use, is like you can kind of bring up your charts and stuff like that. And so I got to write all these like different tickers I'm watching and so on and so forth. So I use the paid version of TradingView, which is like $30 a month, just so I can get a little bit more customization on the colors and stuff. And they do have a lot of this stuff, but you can see like you got kind of cool things. You can publish your ideas over here, record an idea. You can even stream live, all sorts of stuff. So like if you hit this like publish idea thing, right, you can come in and say like, right, Bitcoin to the F word, moon. And next thing you know, right, like, you got this thing going on. So TradingView, overall, pretty solid. I would say, nothing crazy on it. It's got a good look to it. And, in the end, they've got some free stuff that you can really use. And the most important thing really in trading and short-term trades, you got to get a charting platform anyway. So if you can fiddle around with the free one for a little bit and see if you like it, then that's going to give you some options to see if you want to move on. Now, after, a charting program, I think, a couple of things that, you can do that is going to be really interesting is, well, first of all, like YouTube, is much slack and flack we give the YouTubes. There's good stuff on this. Like if you're a cryptocurrency trader, for example, Cameron Foose is one of my best friends like in the world, and like he is a killer at cryptocurrency. On the stock side, Be the Trader's a good friend of mine. You can go in and check his thing. I did a couple podcasts with him. He's a really awesome guy. He's interviewed like really, really successful traders, men, women, so on and so forth. He's interviewed people that are just really, really good at what they do. Young, old, stocks, equities, options. I think that's really, really important. So there's just a good group of people on here. My favorite, like kind of, YouTube spot where they have people that trade my style of trading, which is trend trading with news, technicals, a little bit about reading the tape. They're just how a professional would trade, like a fund manager. Most of the people on YouTube are one-trick ponies. These guys at S&B Capital, Mr. Mike is a good friend of mine, and so is Steve. Like those guys are the real deal, right? Like, they're not doing any fluff like, hey, I made $50 million trading. Hey, I turned $1,000 into $1 million. Like that's all right, baloney scraps, or as the good old Jim Biden would say, malarkey. Most of the people that do this right, they build it up over time using skills and competence. And so I think the S&B Capital people are really, really good. I really find this lady from Humble Trader got a great personality. I met her at the Traders for a Cause. I had never heard of her up until Traders for a Cause, and chatted with her for a few minutes, and just really smart lady. Got a lot of good stuff. So, YouTube is a great place to just learn some things. But yeah, Be the Trader, S&B Capital, this True Trading Group guy, also pretty damn cool. I watch a bunch of his videos. Like that really knows his stuff. You can tell he's like an old school technical trader. He uses a lot of same tools that I do. Fairly similar style in terms of trend trading, but he's just got an eye on this stuff. You can always tell who knows their stuff when you start to dig into the nitty gritty of patterns and structure, market structure, and how things work, versus somebody that just comes in and is like, hey, I made $15,000 trading this, and they draw a couple squiggly lines on their chart, and then they're like, da-da, right? Like that's not really how you want to get ahead in trading. Like you really need to dig into somebody's processes, and you'll learn a lot on just whether they're any good at trading, so kind of keep an eye on some of that. But the YouTube's got great stuff. I really like TraderVue. TraderVue's got some interesting stuff. Like this is an online journal thing. A lot of my students, post on here, so like I can come in here and see like, all right, like what's Dave doing, what's Thayer doing, and I can come in and see like kind of some of this stuff, and so I can see like what my students are doing. And what's interesting about this is like you can kind of like day by day see what somebody's trading. This mother trucker is making too many trades, right? Like this is way too many trades. But it's really cool. Like it's interesting what you can do on this. You can really narrow things down into setups and reports, and I think that's really important. So I'm kind of hopping on Burger Boss here, but he's done, for a new trader, he's done okay in the last month, but his losing days are just a little bit big. But you got a lot of detail on some stuff like this. Like what you can start to see is like performance by the hour, for example. So what this tells me is right that he gets really desperate at the end of the day and starts to YOLO things, and what we can start to do, and this is a brand new trader, but like we want to be able to start diving into metrics and things like that, so that we can get an idea of really like what type of trader you are, what you're good at, so on and so forth. And so what you'll start to see is like some interesting things that you can make reports on, I think. And so a lot of my students use this. I love working with them when they're using stuff like this, because it makes it easy for me to actually go in and see like what they're doing right and wrong, leave comments on the trade. So like, on any given trade, like if one of my guys leaves a comment, leaves a trade, I can come in here and see like, first of all, number one, I can see how they did for that day. Okay, like it's a brand new trader. He lost $194, right? He did 2-minute ORB, gap fade, green to red. So this is somebody that I know is going to be a really, really good trader, because look how detailed it is. He's tagging everything. He's really leaving like proper notes for himself. And then what TraderVue really does is like it'll come in and like you can see like on the chart like where you buy, where you sell, and that's like you need to visualize what you're doing right and wrong. Like, okay, I'm buying and selling here, and it's a mistake on this type of pattern, and it needs to be in these ways. And so I can come in and leave a comment like, XYZ, so on and so forth. And then he'll get an alert that's, says like, hey, Big Boss Canal, your mentor, left a comment, check it out. And I think that's really important. Like when you go through this stuff, we want to be able to have a visual understanding of the data and how it relates to our trading so that we can internalize it. See, charts can sometimes lie to you. Oftentimes we may think we're good at certain things and we're not. But what happens is when you have the data, that data can't lie to you. You start to understand like, this is what I'm doing right, this is what I'm doing wrong. But most importantly, these are the setups that I should be doing more of. And these are the ones that I should just stay away from for now, because they're getting me in a lot of trouble. I think that's going to be a really big helpful for you. I think a little bit of a pre-market tool. So on TC2000, you get all of this in the pre-market, just shows up. But, if you want something for free, the pre-market page on Benzinga is pretty cool. Like they list all the top gainers in the morning and losers. A big part of my strategy is personally trading news and then applying technical analysis to it, and so like you want to kind of go through these things. And then what you can do is type the ticker into your trading platform. I know it's a little bit aggressive because it takes a little bit of work, but this is how I used to have to do it. TC2000 actually didn't even have the ability to scan for gappers up until a few years ago. So we had to use stuff like this or trade ideas and then input them into TC2000. That's just the legwork that you have to do. But you can come in here and you'll start to see, right, like analyst ratings, EPS, you'll start to see all the information on the stock. And once again, I'm a technical trader, like sitting there and looking at like what this company does in terms of its earnings is not really my thing, because I'm only planning on holding these things for, right, like 20 minutes, 30 minutes, maybe an hour. But sometimes, like when I'm trading well, it could be in the minutes, right? And so, like, getting to know whether this company's making a lot of money or not is not really what I need to know. I need to know, is it news? Is it good? How is the price action reacting to it? And then we start to use our patterns like ORBs, quick pullback buys, VWAP fades, VWAP bounces, so on and so forth. And you can see here, you got an earnings calendar. You can see like what analyst ratings, upgrades, and then like economic data. And then they got like a nice pre-market show and stuff like that too. So it's got a nice, for a free tool, I think this is pretty cool. You can do all of this on ThinkerCrap or TC2000, or, even on E-Trade, you have some of this stuff too. So, just be mindful of that. And then, of course, I think the most important thing when you're learning to trade is finding and learning about charts. If you guys need to just understand what the heck the stock market is, what a chart is, what are moving averages, right? What is VWAP? What is a pattern? And then some basic patterns. We always have an intro course right on our website that this is probably like maybe 6 hours worth of just stuff. It's free. You can watch this stuff, and it will give you an understanding of not just the stock market, but short and long-term trading patterns, what support, resistance, all that kind of nitty-gritty to build a foundation. And, if you feel like that is something that's making sense to you and is something that's interesting you, and then start to dig in to some of these trading tools and try to put it all together, and then once you put it all together, do some paper trading for a while, some just virtual trading. You can do that on E-Trade, Schwab, Ameritrade, right? All the brokers have it, interactive brokers, so on and so forth. Guys, these are my favorite free trading tools. I'll do one on paid trading tools. There's a whole host of good stuff for news scanners and charting and so on and so forth. Even some good newsletters that I think have been really, really helpful for me over the years. And so I'll make sure to do a good review on that. But in the meantime, right, you got your YouTube, your TradingView, a trade journal, and then some pre-market prep will go a long way. Guys, let me know if you have any questions. I look forward to hearing from you guys. Take care.